Good morning, and welcome to the first session of Ask Father Michael. Back in the lockdown, I had asked in one of my assignments that I gave you to send me a bunch of questions, anything really, about the church, about myself, personal, and just being able to pick my brain. Over time, I was kind of compiling the questions. And as you're about to be confirmed, we've scheduled that for you. This is a great opportunity for me to be able to answer those questions and not be a father that breaks his promise. It's an opportunity for me to be able to speak to you and just answer your questions. And as well, for many of the people in the parish, your questions also speak to what longs in their heart to know about me and to know about the faith. So the first kind of main question that many of you asked was about me and my vocation story. And really, I've never had an opportunity to just talk about why I became a priest and what was spurring in my heart for that to happen. The people of God have seen Deacon Steve, Deacon Mark speak about their own vocation stories, but never about me. And I never found that the homily was a good opportunity for this. But this is a great opportunity, so thank you for that question. I can tell you a little bit about myself to start off, because I think that would be the kind of where the seed of a vocation was planted, and it would be in my family. I'm the youngest of 3 children. My brother Angelo is major in the military. He's stationed in Kingston. My sister Maria is the oldest, and she's a math teacher out in Brussels. And each of us kind of taken our own path. My parents are immigrants from India. Dad moved to the U.S., studied at the University of Notre Dame for his master's, and then married Mom and moved to Canada, and there began their life and their family, starting in North York, and then we moved to Scarborough, and that's where I was born and raised, in Scarborough, Ontario. My home parish was Prince of Peace, but I was baptized as St. Bartholomew's by Deacon Charbonneau, who recently passed away, and it was a very touching opportunity for me to go to his visitation, meet his wife, and just tell her one of the young men or infants that he baptized back in 1984 became a priest, and it was great to see her face and her eyes light up. From early beginnings, going to church with my parents, just being intrigued about faith. It's as an observer of things, just observing how things would happen at church and seeing how people would interact with one another. One of the kind of clearest ways that I can speak about that kind of observation was spending some time. My parents would drag us to various masses during the weekday, one of them being First Friday Mass. They had a strong devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And First Fridays are always dedicated to that devotion. And so we would go for Mass, but there would also be this opportunity of silent prayer, which we call adoration, where the consecration of Mass is just kind of set. It's prolonged in a moment of silence. And there we were able to adore the Lord, present to us in the Eucharist. And at adoration, there were 2 things that would happen. There would always be bells, and there would always be smoke. And it always intrigued me, because as an infant, I didn't see the bells, and I didn't see the smoke, where it was coming from. And so it was just smells and bells that kind of rang out, and that just encapsulated my senses. As I grew up and I became an altar server when I was in grade 4, I then learned where the bells were and where the smoke came from. And all of those things were just very beautiful. It just encapsulated my senses and gave me this mystery to be embraced by. As I altar served and learned more about the Mass, that's where I fell more in love with Jesus. And the more I fell in love with Jesus, the more he revealed to me in various ways that this would be the path that he has kind of laid out for me. Me being a stubborn individual was resistant, but having the help of really good people in my life certainly helped me answer the questions that needed to be asked. And they supported me in this vocation, and that support began at home with my parents. It continued in church with many good priests that were in my life. A gentleman by the name of Friar Guy Gartland, who passed away, but he was visiting the schools and just telling us about the faith, and just a very fun individual to know, but fun but strict. He showed us that the faith is fun, it's joyful, but there's also things that we have to kind of maintain. And all those things had a great influence on me. I would go to high school, study there, and then I would move off to university. I went to the University of Waterloo, studied engineering there, chemical engineering. And in 2005, very distinctly remember my friend inviting me to a come and see weekend at St. Augustine Seminary. And I didn't know what a come and see weekend was, but he told me, and the reason why he wanted me along is because he didn't want to go by himself. And out of that experience, that come and see weekend at St. Augustine's, it just blossomed. You know, I saw the seminarians at prayer. I saw Mass being celebrated in a way that really touched my heart. I got to meet some of the faculty, got to meet some of the seminarians, and all of them were just very warm and loving and caring. And from that experience, I walked away from that come and see weekend thinking, should I leave engineering studies and just go right into philosophy and then theology, or do I continue on with my engineering studies? And again, praise God that I had good people in my life to advise me and can help me along in that decision to kind of stay the path, stay faithful to what I've chosen to do at this time, to study my chemical engineering, and then at the end of that, see where the Lord takes you. During my time in university, after that come and see weekend, I was able to connect with other faithful Catholics. For the first 2 years of that time, I was on my own, and our faith alone is never good. We always need community around us, and it was great to have a support of other university students who are in love with Jesus to be able to assist and support. And it's from these little groups, many of them my friends and close confidants. Out of that came the point in my life, in my last year of study, where I was given the choice of seminary, master's, or work. And at that moment, there was another life kind of changing point, and it was with regards to a girl who I was interested in. But the way things had worked out, she had kind of given me strong inclination that dating her wouldn't be a good idea. And from there, I just kind of said, you know what, this is the point where the Lord is calling me and saying, you know what, take this path, dive right in, see what's going to happen, you know, to put out into the deep water. And I did. And praise God, you know, that last year of seminary, of university studies was just so freeing. Like, I wasn't pressured into trying to achieve certain things. It was just very easy for me to just go about, and I did much better than I thought I would. From there, I would enter into St. Augustine's in 2008. I graduated from my chemical engineering studies. And the rest, as you say, is history. The 5 years of formation were wonderful. My classmates are my best friends. The priesthood is just a very joyful experience for me. Our class has always been one of rambunctiousness, of joy, never kind of allowing ourselves to be molded into something that is not us. We are just very much human with all of God's given talents, and allowing that to shine forth for his people. And so that's just a very kind of brief kind of look at my vocation story about why I became a priest. Why I want to become a priest is because I was shown what a priest is in my life. It's someone who is a father figure, someone who is able to spiritually guide, someone who is always willing to have an ear to listen, someone who is caring and nurturing. And all those kind of aspects of the priesthood just made me kind of admire and always kind of think, I could do this, but only with God's grace. And he certainly provides when we put ourselves out into the deep waters.